I suppose most of you have heard of Zen. But before going on to explain any details about it, I want to make one thing absolutely clear. I am not a Zen Buddhist. I am not advocating Zen Buddhism. I am not trying to convert anyone to it. I have nothing to sell. I'm an entertainer. That is to say, in the same sense that when you go to a concert and you listen to someone play Mozart, he has nothing to sell except the sound of the music. He doesn't want to convert you to anything. He doesn't want you to join an organization in favor of Mozart's music as opposed to, say, Beethoven's. And I approach you in the same spirit as a musician with his piano or a violinist with his violin. I just want you to enjoy a point of view which I enjoy. You live basically on the level where you know there are no mistakes. Can't be. Everything moves in accordance with what the Chinese call the Tao, the way of nature. And if you have that basic feeling, you will always be sane. But you are able to comprehend within that feeling a more restricted point of view, whereby things are good and bad. Just as in the confines of this room and this area, it's perfectly clear that there's a difference between the up direction and the down direction. But we know that this area is situated in interstellar space, and there is no up and no down. Now, the second situation doesn't contradict the first. But if you have only the discriminatory point of view, if you take your fundamental stand as a being on the difference between good and evil, you get in the Christian hang-up. You have then to say that there is eternal heaven and eternal hell, that the distinction between good and evil is radical. And if you do that, you begin to suffer from a disease called chronic guilt, which is one of the most destructive emotions that anybody can have. You feel an outcast from the universe, at odds with reality itself, at odds with God. And that sends people quite mad and is responsible for a good deal of the craziness of Western civilization. It's making too much of a good thing out of the distinction between good and evil. It is an important distinction, but it's not fundamentally important. And you have to learn to admit different degrees of importance.
I've always been tremendously interested in what people mean by the word I, because it comes out in curious lapses of speech. We don't say, I am a body. We say, I have a body. And somehow we don't seem to identify ourselves with all of ourselves. We say sort of my feet, my hands, my teeth, as if they were something somehow outside me. And as far as I can make out, most people feel that they are something or other about halfway between the ears and a little way behind the eyes, inside the head. That is what you call the ego. That's not what you are at all, because it gives you the idea that you're a chauffeur inside your own body, as if your body were an automobile, and you are the chauffeur principle inside it. But you feel caught in a trap because your body's kind of a mess. It gets sick, tired, hurts, and eventually wears out and dies. And you feel caught in it because you feel different from it. And you feel the world outside your body is an awful trap, full of stupid people who are sometimes nice to you but mostly aren't, because they're all out for themselves like you are. And the rest of it, aside from people, is absolutely dumb. Animals, plants, mere vegetables, rocks, and finally behind the whole thing, blazing centers of radioactivity called stars. And out there, where there's no air, there's no place for a person to live. And so we have come to feel ourselves as confronted with a world that doesn't give a damn